When it comes to the future of the MCU, we know that Marvel Studios wants to take us to brand new places we've never seen before in Marvel Comics, or maybe even in films. And they're looking to push some of the concepts we've only had hinted at in the MCU even further. One being the Eternals and its connection to pretty much everything in the MCU. Now let's talk about the Deviants and the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. So when it comes to the Eternals, I think many people realize that this is going to be a unique movie. You know, like you could have just heard about some of the stuff they're talking about it, and you start to form an idea of what you can expect. But you really don't know what to expect till we see that first trailer, till we get the grandiose scope of it. Now we know it's a film that's going to deal with the entire history of the MCU. On top of that, with the future of the MCU. It's going to deal with multiple time periods, different civilizations, and a huge cast of characters. Now recently, when they talked about how this film is going to include such things like the Deviants, which obviously if you look at the comics, the Deviants, the Mutants, the Inhumans, all of these are loosely related. Kevin Feige had some interesting things to say about that and Thanos. I will link it in the description down below if you guys want to actually read it for yourself and go a little bit more into it, but here's what he said about the Deviants first. Deviants are in this film. We'll see Deviants that look unlike any Deviants you've seen in the comics. This is a new form of Deviants we're revealing for this movie. Now, I've seen some people angry at this, and I'm just sitting here and I'm like, you didn't even know who these characters were. I'm actually having trouble remembering what Deviants even really look like, and I've read the comics. Not all of them, full disclosure, but you know what I'm saying. Like, nobody's attached to these things, and let's take this all the way back to 2011, really. You guys remember when Avengers was coming out, and we learned that Thanos' army, we didn't know it was Thanos at the time, was actually the Chitauri? There was all sorts of rage videos and articles and podcasts raging at Marvel Studios for changing the Chitauri, because they look nothing like the Ultimates version. Again, in the end, does that matter today? Doesn't matter at all. We still got the Skrulls, and we got a new version of the Chitauri. So that's the thing here. New version of Deviants. Who knows how they're going to include into the bigger scope of the MCU, but I'm willing to some degree they'll play a part into what's coming down the road, such as the Mutants. Now when it comes to Thanos, here's what he had to say. Thanos, in the comics, was an Eternal on Titan. There may be connections, but really, this is about the new 10 characters that are played by an incredible group of actors, and we're focusing on that. People are also taking this as a, well, Thanos and none of that is in there, and you can't really get that from this because he doesn't say no. If you read that quote, there's never a direct no. He just says they're focusing on these things. Now, who's to say Eternals 2 or Eternals 3 isn't going to feature something that includes Thanos? I just think he's covering his bases. Again, he's not lying. They're probably not going to focus heavily on that, but we might see a descendant of Thanos. You know, that's a possibility. They might lay the foundation. They might even go to Titan at some point. We're like, wait a second, that looks awfully familiar, and see Titan in its peak, right? That's a possibility. I don't think we're going to directly get Thanos and like his downfall to becoming the Mad Titan, but again, I think there'll be a little connections there for the, viewers that are obviously a little bit more tuned in to be like, I see what you did there. Kind of like Mandalorian. Mandalorian has tons of that for the most hardcore Star Wars fans, and we can really dig into it and try to piece it all together and pull little pieces out and try to see what's happening in the bigger world. But for the casual viewer, it doesn't matter. They don't even know when Mandalorian takes place. They actually still think that's a baby Yoda, even though they explicitly say the Empire has fallen. See what I mean?